So no more running. I aim to misbehave.
This landing is gonna get pretty interesting.
Define interesting.
Oh God, we're all gonna die?
She has a name.
So does this.
I call it Vera.
At last, we can retire and give up this life of crime.
Well said. Wasn't that well said, Zoe?
Had a kind of poetry to it, sir.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Brown Coat Reviews. I'm your host Laura. So today we're doing things just a little bit differently because it is Women's History Month. And I felt that there was only one true way to celebrate women in history is to start with one of my favorite comic books, Lady Killer by Joelle Jones. That's right. So ladies, get out your frock, prepare your gloves, grab a cup of tea, and prepare for a bit of murderous intent. Now, I've talked briefly about Joelle Jones before. So if you are paying attention to the rising women in the world of comics and in this amazing industry, she is one of the names to keep an eye out for. She started in an independent company called Dark Horse, and she was doing some artwork, some writing, but she eventually wanted to start getting into some of the bigger titles, but no one was really giving her superhero stories. So she pitched the idea of Lady Killer. And Lady Killer is a woman who, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit on this. She is the domesticated, delightful hostess, mother of 2 children, and has an adorable Great Dane, of course, husband, and has a live-in mother-in-law. So yes, she may be an adorable little housewife, but she is also a hired and well-trained assassin. There are 2 options that you can get for this book. There are 2-volume trade paperbacks, or you can get, this is considered the library edition hardback book. The one thing that I will say for the hardcover is the paper on the inside is actually cardstock. It's just really, really good quality. And some of the cool things we're going to zoom in on in just a second is that it really does an amazing job of just kind of making that artwork pop off the page. And I absolutely love that. You ready to see Lady Killer? So Lady Killer does an amazing job of taking that tongue-in-cheek image of the traditional housewife with the dishes and the entertaining, and then throws dead bodies in there, bloodshed and mayhem. Needless to say, this story is not for the faint of heart. Absolutely love the introduction. So this is Seattle, 1962. I'm just going to show you the first couple pages because I do not want to spoil anything in the storyline. But as you can tell, our main character knocks on the door with her adorable little Avon hat, pearls, cuteness, and she's calling to discuss the importance of beauty in our lives. And I love this adorable little smile. Cuteness, sweetness, no problem, and then the attack begins. With a hammer, no less. And my favorite is this final image after she has gone through extensive amount of mayhem and bloodshed. She's upset, darn it, because she has blood upon her dress. Such a shame. And the rest of the storyline kind of continues with that. So you have this balance of her real life with her children, dog, husband, mother-in-law. Everything's trying to keep this wonderful appearance. And then she gets called off on certain jobs to then take care of business. This story, I will say, the colors, of course, they pop off the page. Her cleverness, she is incredibly capable. And these storylines are just wonderful. Volume 1 I finished very quickly because half of the fun is the storyline and the other half is it's very action-packed. Trying to make sure I don't hit any spoilers in here. So volume 1, of course, ends with a nice little cliffhanger. And volume 2, in my opinion, is a little bit better. So like I said, if you liked the idea behind volume 1, I think she really hit her stride with volume 2. There are a couple little, main storylines that, like I said, I don't want to spoil, that she kind of leaves with this wonderful cliffhanger in volume 1. And you're sitting there wondering, okay, well, what is she going to do now? And then volume 2, so you get more of the voiceover from our main character as she's trying to kind of piece together what she's going to do and how she's going to balance all this. I don't know about you, but I have read enough self-help books to know when they give you like the 7 steps on how to achieve greatness within your new position and sell better than anyone else. Her little taglines here reminded me a great deal of that spiel that you will always read in those books, except she's of course talking about her success as an assassin, which always adds a fun little twist. So, not going to spoil anything in this story because you need to go read it. You're going to love it. What I do want to show is this. So this is why I actually recommend getting the hardcover, because I don't know that this content is included in the paperback volumes. And if it isn't, this alone is worth the price of admission. So these are the original Joelle Jones kind of ad campaign that she had created to advertise her main character, which is Josephine. So this was her way of showing Josephine in these adorable little poses. But you notice how she's holding up the cleaning Bible and she's just looking adorable, but she's laying in bloodshed. He will never complain that his dinner was late again because you're serving him arsenic. And this is absolutely one of my favorites. And it says, now with enough space to put all your leftovers on ice. And there's a gentleman in the ice freezer. And she goes into each one a little bit separately. They are absolutely adorable. They're cute as a button. I know, I'm saying Bloodshed is cute as a button, but you get the idea. The whole premise of this story is meant to constantly show you the dichotomy of this adorable little housewife. She's cleaning up. She is perfect in her little gloves and heels, of course, but she is surrounded by bloodshed. And that's why this story is so intriguing, is because we see stories with assassins, but this is an assassin who is maintaining that perfectionistic lifestyle. So it's a very stylized piece of art that I absolutely love. I think they captured the 1960s absolutely perfectly, but then they threw in the assassin twist, which makes this story a lot more interesting. And of course, she's pouring the arsenic into the brew. And it says, the hit of any party. And they do end up at the World's Fair in Volume 1. And of course, you see her standing at the top, throwing the body overboard. And fashionable for all occasions while she's wielding her heel. Someone with a lot of creative genius and fun just had an absolute blast with this storyline. Or it says, welcome to Seattle. You'll never go anywhere else. Because she's got the knife. I love that she's cleaning up the hand. We've seen this image. This is just a little bit more distressed. So this was originally going to be a Christmas card to advertise for the book, which I thought was going to be very clever, but because of the rise in gun violence in 2015, she decided against it and just included it as a nice little bonus cover in the back. Love that image. I love the hat and gloves. Finally see the hand at the bottom. But this is probably one of my favorite images of her. because there are a couple scenes where she is wearing these adorable, dainty little gloves. She is decked out to the nines, and then you see her just start the brawl and kill someone in not normally a very like gentle fashion. So I really loved kind of the imagery of the dripping blood, but then you've got the delicate little flowers. I really loved this print. So let me scoot this back over. I glanced at this, and I don't know about you, but it reminds me of, there were the little paper dolls, and you had the little tabs on the outfits. So then you would cut out the outfit, and then you could put it on the model. Part of me was just picturing, well, if I had my little tabs around the outfit, what would she look like in the little dress? Or I could put the little coat on her, and I really thought that this was adorable. And this is one of those little intriguing moments where I have to give credit where credit is due. So Joelle Jones actually did research on the 1960s wallpaper, of all things, because she wanted to be as historically accurate as she could. So she added these period details, and she, sketched them out, and then she would sometimes digitally throw them in the background of some of these panels. But she clearly wanted this to really feel like the 1960s. And then, of course, the color matched that. But that's where you get this fun little play of realism with bloodshed. And that's always very, very fun. So, Lady Killer. I've given you kind of the brief synopsis, gave you the world's smallest glimpse of the book. And why did I do that? Because it's that good. I can start showing you random pages, and there are plenty of YouTubers that have done the same thing. But honestly, you just need to read it. This is a very, very, very quick read. So you can take a break between volume 1 and volume 2, but honestly, you're not going to want to. This is just one of those storylines that it's all about kind of getting encompassed in this world of the 1960s, but then you also are really curious to see what's going to happen next. And it does get very interesting because she is not the only assassin in this story. So that much I will tell you. The storyline is fantastic. It moves very, very quickly. I mean, out of all the different storylines that I've read, it is not the most complicated. But in some ways, I don't want it to be. It has all the action. It has all the plot twists that I want. It has character depth. And in a lot of ways, it is just meant to be this amazing roller coaster ride. You do understand why she became an assassin, but it's not meant to drag on. This story is meant to give you a glimpse of her past, talk about her present, and then you start seeing the future for her. And it just gets interesting. I am actually a little sad that Joelle Jones ended up leaving Lady Killer and going on to do writing and artwork for Catwoman and Batman. I know those are bigger titles, and who wouldn't want to take the opportunity to work for DC? But seriously, I need volume 3 because there is a cliffhanger at the end that leaves it open that if she ever decided to go back and do more comic books with Josie in it, she could. One of the many things that I will say about this particular title is that, yes, when you hear about Women's History Month and we get a lot of, female superhero storylines or happy storylines, I decided that I was going to go in a different direction because this is completely right up my alley. It is definitely dark. It is definitely twisty. There is a little bit of nudity in it towards the end. But like I said, this title in general is never, ever suited for children. There are definitely adult theme things that happen in the storyline because what they were trying to achieve was to show that shift of her perfect, pristine, Avon representative life with her adorable little hat. And then you get the twist to this darker reality of her assassin world which does have some darker elements. She wanted to show the differences between the two worlds and how, in some ways, both of them get seriously messy because of who Josephine is. So I will say that in the big scheme of things, Lady Killer is definitely quite a fascinating tale. I enjoyed it. I will definitely read it again someday. I am really, really glad I grabbed it. I think you should take a chance, read it, check it out, and savor the moment with a nice cup of tea. And please do try to resist the bloodshed. This is Laura from Brown Coat Reviews, and I will see you all next time.